Ariel Mitchell never imagined her first space mission would involve crash landing on an uncharted planet. Yet here she was, staring at the wreckage of the USS Venture, her heart sinking with each puff of smoke rising from the shattered hull. Great, she murmured, kicking a piece of debris. Just great. The planet, at least, seemed hospitable enough, if one could call an alien jungle teeming with bioluminescent flora and occasional unsettling rustling noises hospitable. The air was breathable, a small blessing, and the gravity was only slightly heavier than Earth's. As the ship's chief engineer, Ariel knew her first priority was survival. She salvaged what she could from the wreckage, setting up a makeshift camp near a river of shimmering blue water. The alien trees around her had thick, twisted trunks and leaves that glowed softly in the twilight, casting an ethereal light on the clearing. She was setting up a fire when she heard it, a soft, melodic hum, almost like a lullaby. Turning slowly, Ariel saw the source of the sound, a creature standing at the edge of the clearing, watching her with large, curious eyes. The alien was about her height, with iridescent skin that shifted colors in the dappled light and two sets of arms. Its face was a blend of humanoid features with distinct alien differences, a wide, flat nose, and a pair of antennae twitching atop its head. It wore a simple garment made from the same glowing leaves that surrounded them. "Hello," Ariel called out, hoping the universal translator embedded in her suit would do its job. The alien tilted its head, the hum growing louder. It stepped forward, one cautious, graceful step at a time, until it was close enough for Ariel to see the intricate patterns on its skin. The patterns seemed to pulse with the creature's heartbeat. Fascinating and slightly hypnotic display. "My name is Ariel," she said, pointing to herself. Ariel. The alien's eyes sparkled with understanding. "Ariel," it repeated, its voice a harmonious blend of tones. Then it pointed to itself. "Xylar." "Xylar," Ariel echoed, smiling. "It's nice to meet you." The first meeting was awkward, filled with gestures and simple words, but over the next few days, Ariel and Xylar worked together to build a proper shelter and find food. Despite the language barrier, they communicated through gestures, drawing in the dirt, and the occasional shared word. Xylar taught Ariel about the local flora and fauna. The glowing leaves were edible and quite nutritious, while the water from the shimmering river was safe to drink, but had a slightly sweet taste. Xylar showed Ariel how to weave the leaves into sturdy mats and how to fashion tools from the bones of small creatures that inhabited the jungle. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Ariel decided to try and learn more about her new companion. She pointed to the stars, then to herself, and finally to the wreckage of the USS Venture. "Home," she said, pointing to the sky. "I'm from there." Xylar's antennae twitched, and it nodded. "Home," it repeated, mimicking her gesture. Then it pointed to the jungle around them. "Here." Ariel understood. Xylar was native to this planet. She pointed to herself again, then to Xylar, and mimed a handshake. "Friends," she said, hoping the translator would convey the meaning. Xylar's eyes lit up, and it extended a hand. "Friends," it agreed. Days turned into weeks, and their bond grew stronger. Ariel taught Xylar about human technology, using salvaged parts from the wreckage. In return, Xylar showed Ariel how to survive in the alien environment, what plants were safe to eat, how to avoid predators, and the best places to find fresh water. One day, while exploring a nearby cave system, they discovered a natural spring. Ariel marveled at the crystal clear water, but Xylar seemed troubled. It pointed to a set of strange markings on the cave wall, humming a low, worried tune. "What's wrong?" Ariel asked, though she knew Xylar couldn't understand her fully. Xylar pointed to the markings, then to the sky, miming an explosion. "A storm?" Ariel guessed, shaking her head. "No, something else?" They worked through the puzzle together, finally understanding that the markings indicated a pattern of seismic activity. The cave system, though beautiful, was unstable. They needed to leave. As they hurried out of the cave, the ground began to tremble. Rocks fell around them, and Ariel stumbled, her leg trapped under a boulder. Xylar rushed to her side, its four arms lifting the rock with surprising strength. Thank you, Ariel gasped, clutching Xylar's arm for support as they made their way to safety. Back at their camp, Ariel realized how much she had come to rely on Xylar, not just for survival, but for companionship. The alien had become her friend, her confidant, in a world far from home. One morning, as they were scavenging for supplies, they heard a distant roar. Xylar's antenna twitched, and it let out a warning hum. What's that? Ariel asked, scanning the horizon. Suddenly, a massive creature burst from the undergrowth, a beast with scales like armor and teeth like daggers. Ariel's heart pounded as she reached for the makeshift spear Xylar had helped her craft. The creature lunged, and Ariel and Xylar fought side by side. Ariel's engineering skills and Xylar's natural agility made them a formidable team. They managed to drive the creature away, but not without injury. Xylar had a deep gash in his side, and Ariel's arm was bruised and bleeding. As they tended to each other's wounds, Ariel felt a surge of gratitude. We make a good team, she said softly. Xylar hummed in agreement, his eyes reflecting the firelight. Their days settled into a routine. In the mornings, they would explore the jungle, searching for new food sources and mapping the terrain. Xylar showed Ariel the intricacies of the planet's ecosystem, how the growing plants communicated through light pulses, and how certain flowers released calming pheromones that could deter predators. Ariel, in turn, shared stories of Earth. She used a piece of reflective metal to show Xylar images of her home planet, the bustling cities, and the vast oceans. Xylar listened intently, his eyes wide with fascination. One evening, while they were sitting by the fire, Xylar began to hum a new melody. The tune was soothing, and Ariel felt herself relaxing as she listened. She closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her. When she opened her eyes, Xylar was watching her closely. He pointed to Ariel, then to himself, and then to the sky, humming a questioning tune. You want to know if we'll find a way off this planet? Ariel guessed. Xylar nodded. We will, Ariel promised. We'll find a way, together. Weeks later, a rescue team finally arrived. Ariel's distress signal had been weak, but it had been enough. The sight of the sleek rescue shuttle descended from the sky filled her with relief and a pang of sadness. She had grown to love this alien world and her new friend. As the team prepared to leave, Ariel turned to Xylar, her heart heavy. Come with me, she urged, gesturing to the ship. You don't have to stay here. Xylar hesitated, his eyes flicking between Ariel and the jungle. Then, with a resolute nod, he took Ariel's hand. As they boarded the ship, Ariel knew their journey was just beginning. They had survived together on this alien world, and now they would explore the stars as friends, learning from each other and facing whatever challenges lay ahead. Humanity's first contact with an alien species had been a tale of survival and friendship, and a testament to the strength of bonds formed in the face of adversity. Ariel looked at Xylar and smiled, ready for the adventures to come. The USS Venture 2, the rescue ship, was a marvel of human engineering, with sleek corridors and advanced technology. Ariel showed Xylar around, explaining the functions of different devices. Xylar was particularly fascinated by the ship's holographic displays, which it studied with wide-eyed wonder. As they settled into their quarters, Ariel couldn't help but think about the journey that lay ahead. They would return to Earth, where Xylar would be the first alien to set foot on human soil. There would be challenges, of course, scientific studies, cultural exchanges, and the inevitable media frenzy, but Ariel was confident they would face them together. On the long journey back, Ariel and Xylar spent hours discussing their respective worlds. Xylar taught Ariel more about its people, history, and culture, using drawings and holograms to illustrate its stories. Ariel, in turn, shared tales of Earth's past, from ancient civilizations to space exploration. Their friendship deepened with each passing day, and Ariel began to see Xylar not just as an alien, but as a true companion. They laughed together, shared meals, and even learned a few words in each other's language. The bond they had formed in the wilds of the alien jungle had grown into something strong and unbreakable. When they finally arrived on Earth, the welcome was overwhelming. Scientists, politicians, and journalists all clamored to meet Xylar, eager to learn about the alien and its home planet. Ariel stood by Xylar's side, translating and offering support as they navigated the whirlwind of attention. Despite the chaos, Xylar remained calm and dignified, his antenna twitching with curiosity as he observed the bustling human city. They became a beloved figure, not just for his uniqueness, but for the warmth and kindness he displayed. Ariel and Xylar became ambassadors of sorts, promoting cooperation and understanding between their species. They traveled to various countries, speaking at universities and participating in cultural exchanges. Xylar's gentle hum and Ariel's passionate storytelling captivated audiences everywhere they went. As the years passed, the bond between Ariel and Xylar only grew stronger. They explored new worlds together, faced challenges side by side, and shared countless adventures. Humanity's first contact with an alien species had not only been a tale of survival, but also a story of friendship and unity. Their journey had shown that no matter how different we may seem, we can always find common ground. In the vast expanse of the universe, the connections we make with others are what truly matter. Ariel looked at Xylar, her heart full of gratitude and hope. Together, they had proven that friendship knows no bounds, and that even in the face of the unknown, we are never alone.
I'd always believed the universe had secrets, big ones, secrets that could change the course of human history. And I, Dr. Lena Grayson, was determined to uncover them. The story begins in the barren rocky terrain of planet Zarkon. Our team, composed of myself, Dr. Harlan Burke, and our alien consultant Zynak, had been excavating for weeks with little to show for our efforts. Zynak, with his 3 glowing eyes and 4 nimble arms, was growing increasingly impatient. "Another day of dust and rocks," he grumbled, his deep, gravelly voice echoing in the cavern. "We should have found something by now." "Patience, Zynak," I replied, brushing off a piece of debris from my exosuit. "The greatest discoveries are often hidden where we least expect them." Harlan, ever the optimist, was still sifting through a mound of rubble with his metal detector. "We'll find something, Lena. I can feel it." And then, as if the universe had heard our plea, the detector beeped frantically. Harlan's eyes widened. "I think we've got something." We hurried over, the air thick with anticipation. Harlan carefully brushed away the dirt to reveal a metallic object, intricately carved with symbols we didn't recognize. It glowed faintly, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. This is incredible," I whispered. "We found it." Back at our base, we examined the artifact under controlled conditions. Zynak deciphered some of the symbols, his alien knowledge proving invaluable. "This is an ancient communication device," he said, his eyes reflecting the artifact's glow. "It's far older than anything we've encountered before." "Do you think it still works?" Harlan asked, his excitement barely contained. "There's only one way to find out," I replied, connecting the artifact to our analysis computer. As we activated it, the artifact hummed to life. A holographic projection emerged, displaying a star map of the galaxy. Rotes and annotations flashed before our eyes, detailing the locations of other artifacts. This is a map," I said, my voice trembling with awe. "A map to other alien artifacts." Harlan let out a low whistle. "We're sitting on the biggest discovery of the century." Our discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Within days, our base was a hub of activity, with researchers and archaeologists from across the galaxy eager to examine the artifact. Dr. Marissa Thompson, a leading expert in xenolinguistics, joined our team to help decode the map. "These symbols," she said, tracing her fingers over the holograph, "they speak of an ancient civilization that predates humanity by millennia. They were explorers, much like us." "But why did they leave these artifacts?" Harlan asked, leaning forward. "Perhaps they wanted us to find them," Zynak suggested, "to learn from their knowledge and avoid their mistakes." The implications were staggering. If we could uncover more artifacts, we might unlock technologies and knowledge that could propel humanity forward by leaps and bounds. The thought was exhilarating and terrifying. Using the map, we pinpointed the locations of several other artifacts scattered across the galaxy. Our first destination, the icy plains of Tython, a desolate planet known for its extreme weather and treacherous terrain. The journey was perilous. Our ship, the Endeavour *, battled through storms and blizzards to reach the coordinates. As we trudged through the snow, the biting cold seeped through our suits, testing our resolve. "There it is," Harlan shouted over the howling wind, pointing to a structure half buried in the ice. It was a massive stone monolith, covered in the same symbols as our artifact. We worked quickly, chipping away the ice to reveal another artifact. This one was different, a crystalline structure that resonated with a soft, melodic hum. "Another piece of the puzzle," I said, carefully packing it for transport. "Let's get it back to the ship." Back on the Endeavour *, we activated the new artifact. It projected a series of images and sounds, a message from the ancient civilization. They spoke of a catastrophic event that had nearly wiped them out, a warning for future explorers. "This is a warning," Marissa said, her face pale. They faced a threat that we might encounter as well. The images showed a cosmic entity, a force of nature that devoured entire star systems. The ancient civilization had tried to contain it, leaving these artifacts as a guide for others to do the same. "We need to find the remaining artifacts," I said, determination stealing my voice. "We have to learn how they contained this threat." Our mission took on a new urgency. We traveled to the lush jungles of Xenon, the floating islands of Archon, and the subterranean caverns of Morath, each location yielding another artifact and more pieces of the ancient message. With each discovery, we pieced together the story of a civilization that had faced unimaginable horrors, yet had persevered through sheer ingenuity and resilience. They had created a network of artifacts to pass down their knowledge, hoping future generations would be better prepared. Our final destination was the desolate wasteland of Orin, a planet scarred by the same cosmic entity we now sought to understand. The last artifact was hidden deep within a labyrinthine cave system, protected by traps and illusions. As we navigated the treacherous passages, Xenak's expertise proved invaluable. "This way," he said, guiding us through a hidden door. "The artifact should be just ahead." We entered a vast chamber, the final artifact glowing at its center. It was a massive, ornate device, pulsating with a power that made the air vibrate. "This is it," I said, reaching out to touch it. "The key to understanding and perhaps even controlling this cosmic force." Activating the final artifact, we were engulfed in a brilliant light. The holographic projections merged into a cohesive image, a complete record of the ancient civilization's knowledge and their final message to us. "We are the Guardians," the message began, "entrusted with the knowledge to protect our galaxy. Use this wisely and you will thrive. Misuse it and you will perish." As the message ended, I felt a profound sense of responsibility. We had uncovered not just artifacts, but a legacy, a charge to protect our galaxy from a threat beyond imagination. "We have a lot of work ahead of us," Harlan said, breaking the silence. "But we're not alone in this." "No," I agreed, looking at my team. "We're not. We have the knowledge of the ancients and the strength of humanity. Together we'll face whatever comes our way." And so, our journey continued. We had uncovered the mysteries of the universe, and with them, a path forward. The stars beckoned, and we were ready to answer their call.
The bustling marketplace of the Threxar capital, Lorenia, was alive with the sounds of chatter and commerce. Brightly colored stalls lined the streets, each one boasting exotic goods and foods from across the galaxy. The marketplace itself was a marvel of alien architecture, with floating platforms and translucent domes providing shelter from the twin suns. Among the crowd, a human stood out, his eyes wide with fascination, as he took in the sights and smells. Ethan Grayson had always been a bit of an adventurer, but nothing had prepared him for the sensory overload of an alien market. He had traveled to Threxar Prime as part of a cultural exchange program, eager to experience the culinary delights that the galaxy had to offer. The Threxar themselves were an impressive sight. Tall and regal, they had shimmering scales that ranged from deep blues to bright greens, and their eyes glowed with an inner light. They moved with a grace that belied their size, their movements fluid and precise. The city of Lorenia was built into the side of a massive cliff, with buildings that seemed to grow organically out of the rock. Bridges of light connected different levels, creating a labyrinthine network of pathways. Ethan's first stop was a stall run by a Threxar named Kethra, a tall reptilian being with shimmering blue scales and a friendly demeanor. Kethra's stall was laden with an array of colorful fruits and vegetables, some of which seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. The air was filled with the scent of spices, sweet and pungent, mixed with the fresh aroma of alien produce. "Welcome, human." Kethra greeted Ethan warmly, her voice a melodic hiss. "Care to try a taste of Threxar's finest produce?" Ethan grinned. "Absolutely. What do you recommend?" Kethra selected a fruit that looked like a cross between a pineapple and a pomegranate. "This is a zinthara. It has a sweet, tangy flavor and is quite popular among our people." Ethan took the offered fruit and bit into it, his taste buds exploding with a symphony of flavors. It was like nothing he had ever tasted before, sweet, sour, and slightly spicy all at once. He couldn't help but let out a satisfied groan. "This is incredible," he exclaimed. "I've never tasted anything like it." Kethra's eyes gleamed with amusement. "I'm glad you like it. We have many more delicacies for you to try. Perhaps you would be interested in a traditional Threxar dish called tarloon stew?" Ethan nodded eagerly. "Lead the way." Back on Earth, Ethan couldn't stop talking about his experiences on Threxar Prime. He wrote detailed blogs and posted videos about the alien foods he had encountered, each one more fascinating than the last. His enthusiasm was contagious, and soon a new trend began to sweep across the globe: the alien cuisine craze. Restaurants began to pop up, each one specializing in the exotic dishes Ethan had described. Chefs experimented with the new ingredients, creating fusion dishes that combined Earth flavors with alien spices. The craze reached its peak when Ethan opened his own restaurant, aptly named Galactic Gourmet. Galactic Gourmet was located in a prime spot in New York City, a city known for its diverse culinary scene. The restaurant's exterior was designed to resemble a sleek spaceship, with metallic finishes and glowing blue lights. Inside, the decor was a blend of futuristic and traditional elements, with holographic menus and tables that adjusted their height to the comfort of the diners. Among the patrons eager to try the latest culinary sensation was a young chef named Lily Zhang. Lily had always been passionate about cooking, and the idea of working with alien ingredients thrilled her. She applied for a job at Galactic Gourmet and was ecstatic when she got the call from Ethan himself. "Welcome to the team, Lily," Ethan said with a warm smile. "I hope you're ready for an adventure." Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I can't wait to get started. What's on the menu for tonight?" Ethan handed her a recipe for tarloon stew, the same dish he had tried on Threxar Prime. "Let's start with this. It's a Threxar classic, and our customers can't get enough of it." Lily examined the recipe, noting the unfamiliar ingredients. "Where do we get these?" Ethan led her to the back of the restaurant, where a shipment of alien produce had just arrived. The storage room was a high-tech facility with temperature and humidity controls to keep the alien produce fresh. Transparent containers held a variety of colorful fruits, vegetables, and spices, each labeled with their Threxar names and descriptions. "We have a supplier on Threxar Prime who sends us fresh ingredients every week. It's a bit of a logistical challenge, but it's worth it," Ethan explained. Lily picked up a zinthara and marveled at its vibrant colors. "This is amazing. I've never seen anything like it." Ethan grinned. "Wait until you taste it." As the alien cuisine craze continued to grow, Ethan and his team at Galactic Gourmet constantly sought new ingredients and recipes to keep their menu fresh and exciting. One day, a shipment arrived with a new item, a peculiar-looking root vegetable called a gorthan. The gorthan was unlike any earth vegetable. It was covered in spiky green skin and emitted a faint, earthy aroma. When they peeled it, they discovered its bright purple flesh, which shimmered slightly under the kitchen lights. Ethan and Lily examined the gorthan with curiosity. "What do you think?" Ethan asked. Lily shrugged. Only one way to find out. They peeled and chopped the gorthan, noting its bright purple flesh. Lily decided to roast it, hoping to bring out its natural flavors. As the gorthan cooked, the kitchen filled with a tantalizing scent, a mix of sweet and savory. When the gorthan was ready, Ethan and Lily each took a bite. The flavor was unlike anything they had ever tasted. Rich, complex, and utterly delicious. "This is incredible," Lily said, her eyes wide with amazement. "We have to put this on the menu." Ethan nodded. "Agreed. Let's call it Roasted Gorthan Delight." The dish quickly became a hit, drawing even more patrons to Galactic Gourmet. Word of the new ingredient spread, and soon, chefs around the world were clamoring to get their hands on gorthan. As the popularity of alien cuisine continued to grow, so did the interest in Threxar culture. People wanted to know more about the origins of the foods they were eating, and Ethan saw an opportunity for a deeper cultural exchange. He invited Kethra to Earth as a guest chef at Galactic Gourmet, hoping to share the Threxar culinary traditions with his patrons. Kethra accepted the invitation eagerly, excited to experience human culture firsthand. The arrival of Kethra was a major event, drawing media attention and crowds of eager food enthusiasts. Kethra's cooking demonstrations were a huge success, and she quickly became a beloved figure in the culinary world. Kethra's presence in the restaurant added an air of authenticity to the Threxar dishes. She shared stories of Threxar traditions and the cultural significance of various foods, enchanting the patrons with her tales. During her stay, Kethra and Ethan developed a deep friendship, bonded by their shared love of food and exploration. They spent hours in the kitchen, experimenting with new recipes and learning from each other. One evening, as they prepared a feast for a special event, Kethra turned to Ethan with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Ethan, our peoples have much to learn from each other. This exchange is just the beginning." Ethan nodded. "I agree. Food has a way of bringing people together, no matter where they're from. It's a universal language." As the alien cuisine craze continued to thrive, it began to pave the way for even greater collaboration between humans and aliens. New trade agreements were established, allowing for the regular exchange of goods and knowledge. Cultural festivals celebrating the culinary traditions of different species became popular events, fostering understanding and unity. Ethan's restaurant, Galactic Gourmet, became a symbol of this new era of cooperation. Chefs from all over the galaxy came to work and learn there, each bringing their unique flavors and techniques. The menu constantly evolved, offering a diverse array of dishes that celebrated the best of both human and alien cuisine. The restaurant expanded, opening branches in major cities around the world. Each branch featured a different alien cuisine, showcasing the vast culinary diversity of the galaxy. The dining experience was immersive, with holographic displays that transported patrons to alien landscapes while they ate. Lily, now a head chef, reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. "It's amazing how much has changed in such a short time. We've come so far." Ethan smiled, pride and gratitude evident in his eyes. "It's all thanks to the power of food. Who knew that a simple meal could change the world?" As they prepared for another busy night at Galactic Gourmet, Ethan couldn't help but feel optimistic about the future. The alien cuisine craze had not only introduced humanity to new flavors, but had also opened their minds to new possibilities. It was a reminder that, despite their differences. All beings shared a common need for nourishment and connection. And as long as there were new dishes to discover and share, the spirit of adventure that had brought Ethan to Threxar Prime would continue to drive humanity forward, one bite at a time. In the heart of the Andromeda Galactic Hub, the Interstellar Cafeteria was a marvel of engineering and culture. It stood as a testament to the unity and diversity of countless species, a place where beings from across the galaxy gathered to share food, stories, and laughter. But today, it would become the stage for an unprecedented event, the introduction of human cuisine. The cafeteria buzzed with the usual cacophony of voices, clicks, and hums from a myriad of species. At the center of this bustling environment stood Razul, a six-armed Elranian, known for his culinary prowess and diplomatic finesse. His skin shimmered in the ambient light, a vibrant shade of blue that reflected his calm yet commanding presence. "Ladies and gentle beings," Razul's voice resonated through the cafeteria's communication system. "Today, we are honored to introduce the culinary delights of our newest members to the Interstellar Council, the humans from Terra." Excited murmurs spread through the crowd. The humans, though relatively new to the interstellar community, had already made a name for themselves with their unique blend of creativity and resilience. The air was thick with anticipation, each species eager to experience something new and exotic. In the kitchen, Chef Elena Martinez, a renowned human chef, prepared the final touches on her dishes. She was flanked by an eager team of interstellar assistants, each one fascinated by the diversity of ingredients and techniques she employed. "Remember," Elena instructed, her voice calm but firm, "presentation is key. The flavors will speak for themselves, but we need to ensure everything looks perfect." Her team included Zethar, a Zorvian known for his precision with slicing, and Nylia, a Thalaran adept at mixing and balancing flavors. Together, they had created a menu that spanned the breadth of Earth's culinary heritage, from spicy Indian curries to delicate Japanese sushi. As they worked, Elena shared stories of her home planet, explaining the origins of each dish. Zithar's tentacles moved with surgical precision as he sliced vegetables for a colorful salad, while Nylia's three eyes focused intently on mixing spices for the curry. The kitchen was a symphony of motion, a dance of cultures coming together. The doors to the cafeteria opened, and a line of servers emerged, carrying trays laden with human dishes. The aromas wafted through the air, a tantalizing blend of spices, herbs, and cooked meats. Patrons from various species lifted their noses, their sensory organs tingling with curiosity. Razul took the stage again. "And now, let us welcome Chef Elena and her team to present these extraordinary dishes." Elena stepped forward, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and nerves. She took a deep breath and began to explain each dish, the ingredients, and the cultural significance behind them. "This is sushi," she said, pointing to a tray of beautifully arranged rolls, a traditional Japanese dish that emphasizes the harmony of flavors and the freshness of ingredients. The crowd watched in awe as the dishes were unveiled one by one: Italian pasta, Mexican tacos, Indian samosas, and American burgers. Each dish was a story, a piece of human history and culture laid out for all to see. The cafeteria patrons eagerly approached the serving tables, their curiosity piqued. Zernak, a tentacled Gormaxian, was the first to try the sushi. He picked up a piece with his tentacle, examined it closely, and then popped it into his mouth. His eyes widened in surprise and delight. This is incredible," Zernak exclaimed, his tentacles writhing in excitement. "The flavors are so harmonious." Next, Vera, a feline like Thalary, sampled the curry. Her fur bristled as the spicy heat hit her palate, but a purr of satisfaction soon followed. Such complexity in flavor, she said, licking her whiskers. It's like a dance of spices in my mouth. As the tasting continued, more and more beings were won over by the human dishes. The cafeteria filled with sounds of approval, and Elena's heart swelled with pride. This was what she had hoped for, to share the richness of human culture through the universal language of food. Elena moved through the crowd, engaging in conversations with curious patrons. She explained the origins of each dish, shared cooking techniques, and even learned about the culinary traditions of other species. The exchange of knowledge and culture was electric, a true testament to the spirit of the Interstellar Cafeteria. Just as everything seemed to be going perfectly, a loud crash echoed through the cafeteria. Chef Krog, a hulking Bricari known for his competitive nature, had knocked over a table in his haste to approach Elena. "This is an insult," Krog roared, his voice booming. "How dare you bring such weak, flavorless food into this esteemed establishment?" The room fell silent. Elena stepped forward, her gaze steady. "I'm sorry you feel that way, Chef Krog, but I stand by the quality and authenticity of our dishes." Krog sneered. "Prove it. I challenge you to a cook-off. Let the patrons decide whose cuisine reigns supreme." The challenge was set. Both chefs would have 1 hour to prepare a dish using the same set of ingredients. The entire cafeteria watched with bated breath as Elena and Krog took their places in the kitchen. Elena worked methodically, her mind racing with ideas. She decided on a dish that would showcase the versatility and depth of human cuisine. A fusion of Italian and Mexican flavors, combining the richness of a traditional lasagna with the bold spices of a taco. Krog, on the other hand, opted for a dish that emphasized brute strength and intensity of flavor. A heavily spiced meat stew that was a staple in Bricari culture. As the clock ticked down, the tension in the cafeteria grew. Finally, the dishes were presented, and the patrons eagerly lined up to taste. Razul stepped forward, flanked by a panel of judges from different species. They tasted each dish carefully, their expressions giving nothing away. After what seemed like an eternity, Razul addressed the crowd. "Both chefs have presented extraordinary dishes, each showcasing the best of their respective cultures. But there can only be one winner." He paused for dramatic effect. "The winner is Chef Elena." The cafeteria erupted in cheers. Krog, though visibly disappointed, approached Elena and extended a hand. "You have proven your skill and your cuisine's worth. I concede defeat." Elena shook his hand, relief and pride washing over her. "Thank you, Chef Krog. It was an honor to compete with you." The success of the Human Food Day at the Interstellar Cafeteria marked the beginning of a new chapter. Human cuisine became a regular feature, drawing patrons from across the galaxy eager to experience the flavors of Earth. Elena continued to innovate and share her culinary heritage, forging friendships and alliances through the simple, profound act of sharing a meal. And in the heart of the Andromeda Galactic Hub, the Interstellar Cafeteria thrived as a beacon of unity and cultural exchange. As the patrons dispersed, each carrying a piece of humanity's story with them, one thing was certain: human food had earned its place among the stars.
The room was a hodgepodge of cultures, a tapestry woven from the threads of a dozen alien species. High-backed chairs designed for creatures with spines in unconventional places, a table that could extend or shrink based on the number of participants, and a translation system that ensured no one's insults went unmissed. Everything about the Galactic Council chamber screamed diplomacy in the most eclectic sense. Amid this chaos sat Earth's newest ambassador, Rebecca Becky Thompson, a woman known as much for her sharp wit as her diplomatic acumen. Seated beside her was her aide, Lieutenant Jason Myers, who was already sweating profusely despite the room's climate control. "Do we really need to negotiate with the Pirathi? Their representative looks like he could eat me for breakfast," he whispered, his eyes darting nervously towards the imposing figure of General Croth. General Croth, the Pirathi's envoy, was indeed a sight to behold. Towering over most beings in the room, his chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the chamber's lights, and his mandibles clicked ominously whenever he spoke. Despite his fearsome appearance, Becky remained unfazed. She gave Jason a reassuring pat on the shoulder and leaned forward, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Relax, Jason. Remember, the Pirathi respects strength and confidence. Just follow my lead." The meeting commenced with the usual formalities, each representative taking turns to introduce themselves and state their intentions. The Zanari, a species known for their logical prowess, proposed a new trade agreement, while the Thraxians, with their love for all things bureaucratic, suggested a minor amendment to the interstellar taxation policy. Finally, it was time for the humans to speak. Becky rose from her seat, her smile as warm as a supernova. "Thank you. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Earth is honored to be part of these discussions. Today, we're here to negotiate a peace treaty with the Pirathi." A low murmur ran through the chamber. The Pirathi were notorious for their warlike nature, and many doubted the humans' ability to broker peace with them. General Croth's mandibles clicked, a sound that translated roughly to, "This should be amusing," Becky continued, unfazed by the skepticism. "We believe that our two species have much to gain from cooperation rather than conflict. To that end, we've prepared a proposal that we believe addresses the concerns of both parties." General Croth leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "And what, Ambassador Thompson, do you believe we, the Pirathi, have to gain from such an agreement?" Becky's smile widened. "Well, General, let's start with the obvious. War is expensive. It drains resources, time, and lives. Peace, on the other hand, opens up opportunities for trade, cultural exchange, and technological advancements. For instance, Earth has developed a rather ingenious invention called pizza. Imagine the possibilities." The chamber erupted in laughter, a sound that was part genuine amusement and part nervousness. The Pirathi were not known for their sense of humor, and many wondered how General Croth would react. To everyone's surprise, the general's mandibles clicked again, this time translating to, "Tell me more about this pizza." Becky seized the moment. "Pizza is a culinary masterpiece, General. A harmonious blend of bread, cheese, and various toppings, baked to perfection. It's a testament to human creativity and our ability to bring diverse elements together into something greater than the sum of its parts, much like this peace treaty." General Croth's eyes glimmered with curiosity. "Interesting. But you must offer more than food to convince the Pirathi to lay down their arms." Becky nodded. "Of course. We also propose a technology exchange. Earth has made significant strides in renewable energy, medical advancements, and communication systems. We're willing to share these technologies in exchange for peace." The Thraxian representative, a being with a head full of tentacles, interjected, "And what guarantees do we have that the Pirathi will not use these technologies against us?" Becky turned her attention to the Thraxian. "We propose a mutual oversight committee comprised of representatives from multiple species to monitor the use of exchange technologies. This ensures transparency and builds trust." General Croth's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of deep thought. "Your proposal is intriguing, Ambassador Thompson, but the Pirathi value strength above all else. How do we know that humans are worthy allies?" Becky's eyes sparkled. "Ah, I was hoping you'd ask that, General. You see, humans have a unique approach to conflict resolution. We call it diplomacy with a twist. Jason, if you would." Jason, who had been nervously fidgeting in his seat, stood up and walked to the center of the room, carrying a small device. He placed it on the table and activated it, projecting a holographic image of a human boxing ring. "This, esteemed council members, is a sport we call boxing," Becky explained. "Two opponents face off in a ring, using a combination of strategy, strength, and skill to outmaneuver each other. It's a test of both physical prowess and mental acuity." The Zanari representative, ever the logical observer, raised an eyebrow. "And how does this relate to your diplomatic strategy?" Becky grinned. "Simple. We propose a friendly match between our best fighter and the Parathi's champion. It's a demonstration of our strength, but also our respect for your culture's values. A symbolic gesture to show that we are equals, capable of both strength and cooperation. The chamber buzzed with excitement and disbelief. A boxing match as a diplomatic tactic was unheard of, but it was undeniably intriguing. General Croth's mandibles clicked once more, this time translating to, "You are bold, Ambassador. The Parathi accept your challenge. Our champion will face your best fighter in 3 days." The meeting adjourned with a mix of anticipation and curiosity. As the representatives filed out of the chamber, Jason turned to Becky, his face a mix of admiration and apprehension. "Are you sure about this, Becky? We're putting a lot on the line." Becky patted his shoulder reassuringly. "Trust me, Jason. Sometimes the best way to show strength is through a little creative thinking. And who knows, maybe we'll even introduce the Pirathi to the joys of pizza while we're at it." 3 days later, the Galactic Council chamber had been transformed into an arena. A boxing ring stood in the center, surrounded by representatives from every species. The air was thick with anticipation as the Pirathi champion, a hulking warrior named Gorath, entered the ring. His exoskeleton gleamed menacingly, and his mandibles clicked in a rhythm that spoke of confidence and intimidation. On the human side, a figure stepped forward, clad in sleek boxing gear. It was none other than Captain Jack the Hammer Harris, a renowned boxer and military officer. He climbed into the ring with a casual ease, his eyes scanning the crowd before settling on Gorath. The match began with the sound of a gong, and the two fighters circled each other warily. Gorath struck first, his massive fists swinging with the force of a freight train. Jack dodged with agility, his movements fluid and precise. The crowd watched in awe as the two combatants exchanged blows, each demonstrating their unique strengths. Despite Gorath's formidable power, Jack's strategy and speed kept him in the game. He danced around his opponent, landing quick jabs and evading Gorath's crushing strikes. The fight was a spectacle of skill and endurance, each round more intense than the last. By the 5th round, it was clear that the match was more than just a physical contest. It was a display of respect, resilience, and the potential for understanding between two of vastly different species. The crowd, initially divided, began to cheer for both fighters, appreciating the artistry and determination on display. In the final round, Jack and Gorath faced each other, both visibly tired but undeterred. With a final surge of energy, Jack landed a decisive blow, knocking Gorath off balance. The Pirathi warrior stumbled, but instead of falling, he steadied himself and raised a hand in acknowledgement. The gong sounded, signaling the end of the match. The crowd erupted in applause, a roar of approval that echoed through the chamber. Jack and Gorath stood in the center of the ring, both breathing heavily but united in a moment of mutual respect. Becky approached the ring, her smile radiant. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we've witnessed not just a match, but a testament to the strength and spirit of our species. Let this be the foundation upon which we build a lasting peace." General Croth, watching from the sidelines, nodded in agreement. His mandibles clicked in approval. "Ambassador Thompson, you have shown the Pirathi that humans are worthy allies. We accept your proposal for peace and look forward to a future of cooperation." The chamber erupted in celebration, a mix of cheers and applause from all species present. Becky and Jason exchanged a relieved smile, their unconventional approach to diplomacy having paid off spectacularly. As the festivities continued, Becky turned to Jason, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Now, how about we introduce them to the wonders of pizza?" Later that evening, the Galactic Council chamber was filled with the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked pizza. Representatives from every species gathered around, their curiosity piqued as they sampled slices of the human delicacy. Even General Croth, with his intimidating mandibles, managed to delicately nibble on a piece, his eyes widening in surprise at the burst of flavors. "This pizza is quite extraordinary," he admitted, his mandibles clicking in a way that translated to appreciative laughter. "Perhaps there is more we can learn from each other than we initially thought." Becky raised her slice in a toast. To new beginnings, mutual respect, and the power of creative diplomacy. The representatives echoed her sentiment, raising their slices in a symbolic gesture of unity. The night was filled with laughter, shared stories, and the forging of new alliances. What had begun as a simple diplomatic meeting had transformed into a celebration of diversity and cooperation. As the evening drew to a close, Becky and Jason stood on the balcony, looking out at the stars. "You did good today, Becky," Jason said, his voice filled with admiration. Becky smiled, a sense of accomplishment washing over her. "We did good, Jason. Sometimes all it takes is a little creativity, a lot of heart, and a touch of humor to bridge even the widest gaps." Jason nodded, his nerves finally settled. "And pizza, definitely pizza." Becky laughed, the sound a beacon of hope in the vast expanse of space. "Yes, and pizza. Always pizza." And so, under the starlit sky, the seeds of a new era were planted, one where humans and aliens alike could come together not just as allies, but as friends.
The sky cracked open with a deafening roar, the once clear expanse now marred by the arrival of colossal alien ships. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades, but nothing could fully brace them for the sheer scale of the invasion. Earth was under attack by the Zarthians, a race known for their ruthless conquests across the galaxy. But humanity, with its unyielding spirit, would not go down without a fight. Colonel Emma Drake stood atop the command center, her eyes locked on the horizon where the alien vessels loomed ominously. She had spent years in the military, but nothing had prepared her for this. The Zarthians had chosen their moment well, striking just as Earth's defenses were at their weakest. "All units report," Emma barked into her comms, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around her. "Bravo team ready, Colonel," came the reply from Captain Liam Carson, one of her most trusted officers. "We've set up defensive positions around the city perimeter." Emma took a deep breath. "Good. Hold the line. We can't let them penetrate further into the city." The command center was abuzz with activity. Screens flickered with data, showing the positions of both human and alien forces. Emma's tactical officer, Lieutenant Sarah Thompson, analyzed the incoming information with practiced precision. "They're targeting our power grids and communication hubs," Sarah noted. "They want to cripple us before we can mount a proper defense." Emma nodded. "Deploy additional units to those areas. We can't afford to lose our ability to coordinate." Outside, the city of New Avalon was a battleground. The Zarthian ships cast long shadows over the skyscrapers, their ominous presence a stark reminder of the threat. The civilians, in panic, rushed towards the designated evacuation zones, where military personnel tried to maintain order. In one such zone, a young boy named Timmy clung to his mother's hand. "Mom, are we going to be okay?" he asked, his voice trembling. His mother, Jessica, forced a reassuring smile. "Yes, sweetheart, the soldiers will protect us." As the first wave of Zarthian drones descended, the streets erupted in gunfire. Humans fought valiantly, utilizing every piece of advanced technology they had developed over the years. Plasma rifles and energy shields, once experimental, were now their lifeline. Private Alyssa Kim fired her plasma rifle, taking down one drone after another. "They just keep coming," she shouted to her squad mate, Sergeant Ben Reyes. "Hold your ground, Kim," Ben yelled back. "We have to give the civilians time to evacuate." In the chaos, a group of civilians huddled in a nearby building, their faces etched with fear. Among them was Dr. Elena Vasquez's sister, Maria, who clutched her young daughter tightly. "We need to get out of here," Maria whispered to the stranger next to her, a man named David Nowin. David nodded. "Stay close to me. I'll get us to safety." Outside, the battle intensified. Ben Reyes spotted a group of drones headed straight for the building housing the civilians. "We need to intercept those drones," he shouted to his team. Corporal Jake Mason, a seasoned soldier with a scar running down his cheek, took point. "On it, Sarge," he responded, leading his team in a flanking maneuver. The sound of gunfire and explosions filled the air as they engaged the drones, protecting the vulnerable civilians inside. In the war room beneath the city, strategists and scientists worked tirelessly. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a brilliant astrophysicist, had a plan. If we can hack into their command network, we might be able to disrupt their coordination, she proposed. General Marcus Hayes, overseeing the operations, nodded. Do it. Use whatever resources you need. Elena's fingers flew over the keyboard, her mind racing with calculations and algorithms. I'm in, she whispered, at what felt like an eternity, deploying the virus now. Above ground, the Zarthian drone suddenly faltered, their synchronized attacks turning into disarray. Emma received the update and immediately saw an opportunity. All units, press the attack, she commanded. They're disorganized. This is our chance. Captain Liam Carson, leading a frontline unit, seized the moment. Move up. Push them back, he ordered, his voice cutting through the noise of battle. His soldiers advanced, their coordinated assault overwhelming the disoriented drones. As the battle raged on, humanity found an unexpected ally. A group of Zarthian defectors, led by a warrior named Zorthak, approached the human lines under a flag of truce. Zorthak, towering and fearsome, spoke with a voice like grinding stones. We seek peace, he said. The Zarthian High Command does not speak for all of us. Many of us desire freedom, not conquest. Emma, cautious but hopeful, extended a hand. We can use all the help we can get. Welcome to the resistance. Zorthak introduced his second-in-command, a skilled engineer named Thalna, who immediately began sharing insights on Zarthian technology. Your weapons are effective, but they can be improved, Thalna said, pointing to a schematic. Emma arranged for Thalna to work with Lieutenant Jack Harper, a brilliant human engineer. Show him everything, Emma instructed, and Jack, learn everything you can. Thalna and Jack quickly formed a bond over their shared passion for technology. These modifications will enhance the plasma output, Thalna explained, showing Jack how to adapt human weaponry using Zarthian technology. With the defectors' help, humanity gained valuable intelligence on the Zarthian tactics and weaknesses. Zorthak's knowledge of the alien technology was instrumental. Under his guidance, human engineers adapted their weapons, making them more effective against the invaders. Lieutenant Jack Harper, a brilliant engineer, worked tirelessly on integrating the new tech. This should give us the edge we need, he said, wiping sweat from his brow. Meanwhile, Captain Liam Carson led a reconnaissance mission to gather more intel on the Zarthian positions. His team consisted of skilled scouts like Corporal Jen Matthews and Specialist Raj Patel, ventured deep into enemy territory. We need to find their supply lines, Liam instructed. Cutting those will cripple their operations. The recon team moved stealthily through the alien-occupied zone, using advanced camouflage suits to avoid detection. They documented key supply routes and command centers, transmitting the data back to HQ. As the battle for Earth continued, stories of heroism emerged. Captain Liam Carson led a daring raid behind enemy lines, capturing crucial supplies and rescuing trapped civilians. Alyssa Kim and Ben Reyes held a bridge against overwhelming odds, their bravery buying time for thousands to escape. In a remote outpost, Corporal Sarah Patel sacrificed herself to detonate a bomb that halted a major Zarthian advance. Her last words over the radio were a testament to human courage. Tell my family I love them. For Earth! Back at the command center, Emma received the news of Sarah's sacrifice with a heavy heart. She was one of our best, she murmured. We'll make sure her sacrifice wasn't in vain. Emma addressed her troops, her voice filled with resolve. We honor our fallen by continuing the fight. We will not let their sacrifices be in vain. Stand strong, and let's show the Zarthians what humanity is made of. With the tide turning, Emma and her team planned a final assault on the Zarthian mothership, the heart of the invasion fleet. It was a risky mission, but it was humanity's best chance to end the war. Once we're in, we plant the charges and get out, Emma briefed her team. This ends today. The mission was fraught with danger, Zorthak led the charge, his knowledge of the ship's layout guiding them through treacherous corridors. The team fought their way to the core, facing fierce resistance at every turn. Lieutenant Jack Harper and Thalma worked together to bypass the ship's security systems. "We're almost there," Jack said, his hands moving quickly over the alien controls. "Just a few more minutes." Private Alyssa Kim, now a seasoned warrior, covered their backs, her sharp eyes scanning for threats. "Keep moving. We're almost through," she urged. As the charges were set, Emma looked around at her team, her heart swelling with pride. "We did it," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "Now, let's get out of here." The explosion rocked the mothership, a blinding light tearing through the sky as it disintegrated. The Zarthian forces, now leaderless and disoriented, began to retreat. Humanity survived the greatest alien invasion in history, but it had come at a great cost. The city lay in ruins, and many brave souls had given their lives. But the spirit of humanity, resilient and unbroken, shone brighter than ever. In the aftermath, humans and Zarthian defectors worked side by side to rebuild. New alliances were formed, and a fragile peace took root. Emma stood on a hill overlooking the city, the setting sun casting a glow over the ruins. "We have a long road ahead," she said to Zorthak, who stood beside her, "but we'll rebuild, and we'll be ready for whatever comes next." Zorthak nodded, his eyes reflecting a new sense of hope. "Together, we are stronger." And so, humanity emerged from the ashes, stronger and more united than ever, a testament to the indomitable spirit that had seen them through the darkest of times.
I never imagined I'd wake up in an alien body. But here I was, staring at a reflection that wasn't mine, a creature with iridescent skin, 4 eyes, and limbs that bent in unfamiliar ways. My name's Max Callahan, and up until this morning, I was just your average human, navigating the daily grind. But today, thanks to the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Program, I was inhabiting the body of Zyklar, an Utarian diplomat. "Max?" a voice chirped, startling me. I turned to see another alien, shorter, with scales shimmering like a holographic card. It was Nara, my guide. "Are you ready for your day as an Utarian?" "Ready as I'll ever be," I replied, my voice emerging in a series of clicks and whistles. Nara chuckled, a sound like wind chimes, and gestured for me to follow. As I stumbled behind Nara, trying to adjust to my new form, I couldn't help but think about Zyklar. Somewhere on Earth, he was probably staring into my bathroom mirror, grappling with the realization that he'd need to shave for the first time. I smirked at the thought, imagining the confusion and curiosity that must have been plastered on his alien face. Nara led me to a grand hall filled with Utarians of varying shapes and colors. "Today, you'll attend a council meeting, and later, a reception with the Garthraxians." "Council meeting, got it," I said, trying to mimic Zyklar's confident stride. The hall was a marvel of architecture, with towering columns and walls adorned with intricate murals depicting Utarian history. I took a moment to appreciate the grandeur before entering the council chamber. As the meeting commenced, I quickly realized that diplomacy wasn't just about fancy speeches. The council discussed trade agreements, security protocols, and environmental concerns, topics that required an understanding far beyond my grasp. The Utarian language, with its complex syntax and subtle nuances, made following the discussions even more challenging. "Ambassador Zyklar, your thoughts?" one of the council members prompted. I cleared my throat, or at least attempted to, producing a series of odd clicks. "I believe we should consider the long-term benefits over short-term gains?" I ventured, hoping my generic response would suffice. The room fell silent. Then, to my relief, the council members nodded in agreement. "Wise words, as always," Zyklar, the head of the council, said. I exhaled, realizing I'd just navigated my first diplomatic hurdle. Little did I know the day was far from over. As the meeting progressed, I made mental notes of the key players and their interests, trying to keep up with the rapid exchanges and complex negotiations. Back on Earth, Zyklar was having his own set of challenges. Navigating human society was evidently more complex than he'd anticipated. He found himself bewildered by everyday objects and customs, from the coffee machine in the office break room to the concept of small talk. "Max, you're acting weird today," my coworker Jenna remarked as Zickler attempted to use a stapler upside down. Apologies, Jenna. I am simply adapting, Zickler replied, his formal tone raising eyebrows. Jenna exchanged puzzled glances with our colleagues, all of whom were equally baffled by Max's sudden change in demeanor. Lunch break was an adventure in itself. Zickler, unfamiliar with Earth cuisine, ordered a hot dog with a perplexing array of toppings. He studied it like a scientist analyzing an alien specimen before taking a hesitant bite. His eyes widened in surprise, and a smile spread across his face. Delightful, he exclaimed, much to the amusement of those around him. By the time the workday ended, Zickler had managed to avoid any significant missteps, though his colleagues were convinced Max was either sleep-deprived or pulling an elaborate prank. The walk home provided Zickler with more opportunities to marvel at human architecture, technology, and social interactions, all of which he meticulously documented in his mind for future reports. Back on Uteria, I was preparing for the reception. Nara helped me into a ceremonial robe, its fabric shimmering under the lights. Just remember, Otarians value sincerity and wit, she advised. The reception hall was a spectacle of colors and sounds, with Garthraxians, tall, willowy beings with bioluminescent skin, mingling with Utarians. I took a deep breath and approached a group, determined to make small talk. The ambiance was both exhilarating and intimidating, as diplomats and dignitaries engaged in animated conversations. Ambassador Zickler, a pleasure to see you, a Garthraxian diplomat greeted. Likewise, I replied, adopting a posture of grace. Tell me, how do you find our planet? It is intriguing, the diplomat said, their bioluminescence flickering with amusement. I must admit, your customs are quite fascinating. I nodded, trying to maintain the conversational flow. Indeed. And how do you handle the challenges of interplanetary relations? The diplomat smiled, their skin glowing brighter. With patience and understanding. Much like navigating an asteroid field, one must be careful and deliberate. I smiled, realizing I was getting the hang of this. The evening continued with laughter, shared stories, and an unexpected but delightful musical performance by an Utarian band. By the end of the night, I felt a surprising sense of accomplishment. I even engaged in a debate about the merits of various energy sources, earning nods of approval from both Utarians and Garthraxians. The next morning, I woke up back in my own body. The exchange was over, but the memories lingered. I met Zickler in the designated debriefing room, both of us eager to share our experiences. Max, I must commend you, Zickler began. Your performance as an Utarian diplomat was commendable. Thanks, Zickler. I have to say, being an alien was an eye-opener. Your world is fascinating. And Earth is equally intriguing, Zickler said, a hint of a smile on his lips. I particularly enjoyed your food. Hot dogs, I believe they are called. I laughed, the sound echoing in the room. Yeah, hot dogs are pretty popular here. So what's next? Zickler's expression turned thoughtful. We continue to learn from each other. This experience has shown me that, despite our differences, we share a common thread of curiosity and resilience. As we discussed our experiences, I realized how much I had grown from the exchange. I shared anecdotes about the council meeting and reception, while Zickler recounted his adventures in the human world with a mix of amusement and awe. Over the next few weeks, Zickler and I stayed in touch. Our experiences had forged an unexpected bond. We exchanged stories, cultural insights, and even recipes. Zickler's attempt at making a hot dog using Utarian ingredients was both amusing and surprisingly successful. I, in turn, tried replicating some Utarian dishes, much to the bewilderment of my friends. One day, I received a message from Zickler. Max, I've been invited to speak at an intergalactic summit on cultural exchange. I would be honored if you would join me as my guest. The summit was held on a neutral planet, a breathtaking amalgamation of various ecosystems. Representatives from countless species gathered to discuss, debate, and celebrate their diversity. The venue was a marvel of interstellar architecture, with floating platforms, bioluminescent flora, and holographic displays that narrated the history of the participating civilizations. During the summit, Zickler and I shared our story. The audience listened intently as we recounted our adventures and the lessons we learned. When we finished, the applause was overwhelming. It was a moment of pride and validation for both of us. An ambassador from a distant star system approached us afterward. Your story is a testament to the power of understanding and cooperation. It gives me hope for our future. Zyclar and I spent the rest of the summit engaging with delegates from across the galaxy, learning about their cultures and sharing our own. The experience was enriching, and we left the summit with a renewed sense of purpose. As we left the summit, I turned to Zyclar. This isn't the end, is it? Zyclar shook his head, his eyes twinkling with amusement. No, Max. This is just the beginning. We stood there, two beings from different worlds, united by a shared experience that had forever changed us. The universe was vast and filled with endless possibilities. And together, we were ready to explore them. Our friendship had become a bridge between our worlds, a testament to the potential for unity in diversity. In the grand tapestry of the cosmos, it's the threads of curiosity, resilience, and friendship that bind us together. Whether human or alien, we all seek to understand, to connect, and to find our place in the universe. And sometimes, the most unexpected journeys lead to the most profound discoveries. In the vast expanse of the Andromeda Galaxy, far from the reaches of Earth, humanity had found itself caught in a conflict that defied all known laws of physics and logic. It was here, on the remote planet of Cafeteria, that I, Captain Jonathan Carrick of the UEG Explorer Fleet, found myself facing an unimaginable foe. Cafeteria was a beautiful yet eerie planet, its skies painted in hues of violet and green, with bioluminescent flora that lit up the night like a dreamscape. Towering trees with luminescent leaves swayed gently in the ever-present breeze, casting an ethereal glow that illuminated the landscape. Rivers of liquid crystal wound through the valleys, their waters shimmering with a faint blue light. But it wasn't the beauty that had brought us here. It was the distress signal, a cry for help from a long-lost human colony that had vanished centuries ago. Captain, we're approaching the source of the signal, my second-in-command, Lieutenant Mira Tanaka reported. Her eyes were sharp, scanning the readings on her console. Mira was a woman of keen intellect and unyielding determination. She had served with me on numerous missions, and her instincts were rarely wrong. Her dark hair was pulled back into a tight bun, and her piercing blue eyes held a mixture of curiosity and caution. It's coming from that structure ahead. I looked out the viewport and saw it, a massive, ancient, temple-like edifice carved into the side of a mountain, emanating an aura of power that was almost palpable. The structure was covered in intricate carvings and symbols that glowed faintly in the dim light. Vines and moss clung to the ancient stone, suggesting the temple had stood the test of time, untouched by human hands for centuries. Take us in, Lieutenant, I ordered. Prepare the landing team. As our ship, the UEG Endeavour, descended, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Something about this place felt alive. It was as if the very air vibrated with an unseen energy, a silent hum that resonated in my bones. Once we landed, I assembled a team of our best Mira, Corporal Ethan Reyes, our tech specialist Dr. Alara Soren, and myself. Ethan was a seasoned soldier, his rugged demeanor hiding a sharp mind and a loyal heart. He had a knack for improvisation, often turning the tide in our favor during critical moments. His sandy blonde hair and chiseled features gave him a roguish charm, but his eyes held the hard edge of someone who had seen too much. Alara, on the other hand, was the intellectual powerhouse of our team. Her expertise in ancient languages and advanced technologies had been invaluable on numerous occasions. She was a slight woman with a cascade of curly red hair and an enthusiasm for discovery that was infectious. As we approached the entrance of the temple, the air grew thick with an energy that buzzed against our skin. The entrance was flanked by towering statues of humanoid figures, their expressions stern and foreboding. The statues' eyes seemed to follow us, a silent warning to those who dared to enter. Stay sharp, I cautioned. We don't know what we're walking into. Inside, the temple was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, adorned with symbols and runes that Alara eagerly documented. The deeper we went, the stronger the feeling of being watched became. The walls seemed to pulse with an inner light, casting eerie shadows that danced around us. Ancient murals depicted scenes of battles and alliances between humans and alien beings, hinting at a history long forgotten. "Captain, these symbols," Alara said, her voice tinged with awe. "They're a mix of ancient human and alien scripts. This place is a fusion of cultures." She ran her fingers over the carvings, her eyes alight with curiosity. "Some of these inscriptions speak of a great alliance, a merging of knowledge and power." Suddenly, a cold, telepathic voice invaded my mind. "Intruders. You do not belong here." I staggered, clutching my head. "Did anyone else hear that?" Mira nodded, her face pale. "Yeah, loud and clear." We pressed on, following the source of the distress signal deeper into the temple until we reached a grand chamber. At its center stood a towering figure, a guardian encased in ancient armor that shimmered with an otherworldly light. The guardian's armor was adorned with intricate designs, and its eyes glowed with a psychic intensity that bore into our souls. It stood as a sentinel, a relic of a bygone era. "You have come," the guardian's voice echoed in our minds, "to witness the final battle." From the shadows emerged our true adversaries, ethereal beings known as the Cyric. These psychic aliens moved like wraiths, their forms shifting and shimmering as if made of pure energy. Their leader, a tall, regal figure with eyes that glowed an unsettling shade of violet, stepped forward. The Cyric leader's form was more defined, with tendrils of energy swirling around them like a living aura. "Humans," the Cyric leader spoke directly into our minds. "You are trespassers in a war that is not yours." "We're here because of a distress signal," I replied, trying to keep my thoughts clear. "A human colony called for help." The Guardian's eyes flashed. "The humans you seek are long gone. Their essence, their knowledge, resides within me now. I am their final protector." Before I could respond, the chamber erupted into chaos. The Cyric attacked with a barrage of psychic assaults, their mental waves crashing against our minds like a storm. I could feel their intent to break us, to bend us to their will. But humanity is nothing if not resilient. "Hold the line," I shouted, drawing my plasma rifle. "Don't let them into your heads." Ethan and Mira opened fire, their weapons lighting up the chamber. Alara activated a psychic dampener, a device she had developed for just such an encounter. The dampener created a shield, a barrier against the relentless psychic attacks. The device hummed to life, casting a protective dome of energy around us. The Guardian roared, its voice a thunderclap in our minds. It charged at the Cyric, its massive form moving with surprising speed and agility. The clash between the Guardian and the Cyric leader was a sight to behold, ancient power against psychic prowess. The Guardian's strikes were swift and powerful, each blow reverberating through the chamber. The Cyric leader countered with blasts of psychic energy, their forms blurring and shifting with each attack. As the battle raged, I noticed something, a faint glow emanating from a pedestal at the far end of the chamber. On it lay a crystalline orb pulsating with energy. "Alara, that orb," I pointed. "It's got to be the source of their power." She nodded, understanding instantly. "Cover me." While Ethan and Mira provided cover fire, Alara and I made our way to the pedestal. The closer we got, the stronger the psychic pressure became. It was like wading through a mental quicksand. "We have to destroy it," Alara said, her voice strained. "It's amplifying their abilities." I took a deep breath, focusing all my strength. Together, we lifted the orb. It was surprisingly light, almost weightless, but the energy it contained was immense. As we hurled it to the ground, it shattered with a blinding flash of light. The psychic onslaught ceased instantly. The Cyric, disoriented and weakened, began to retreat. The Guardian, seizing the opportunity, struck a final, devastating blow to their leader. The Cyric leader let out a psychic scream before dissolving into nothingness. The silence that followed was almost deafening. The Guardian turned to us, its eyes no longer glowing with hostility. "You have done what I could not," it said, its voice now tinged with gratitude. "The Cyric threat is ended." "What happens now?" I asked, still catching my breath. "This temple will remain, a testament to what was and a warning to those who come after," the Guardian replied. "And you, humans, will return to your people with the knowledge you have gained here." As we made our way back to the Endeavor, I couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. We had faced an enemy beyond our understanding and emerged victorious. More than that, we had uncovered a piece of our lost history and forged an unexpected alliance. In the end, it wasn't just about survival. It was about proving, once again, that humanity's spirit could rise to any challenge. We are resilient. We are resourceful. And we are never, ever alone. As the Endeavor lifted off, leaving the eerie beauty of Cafeteria behind, I looked at my team, my friends, and knew that whatever lay ahead, we would face it together. Because that is what it means to be human. We fight. We endure. We prevail.
The city of Neo-Tokyo was a sprawling metropolis of gleaming skyscrapers and bustling streets, a testament to humanity's relentless progress and innovation. At its heart stood the Quantum Research Facility, a monolithic structure of steel and glass, towering above the city like a sentinel. The facility was a beacon of hope, housing the most advanced technological achievements and the brightest minds dedicated to securing humanity's future. Yet, on this fateful day, the sky above Neo-Tokyo darkened with the ominous silhouettes of alien warships. The Kelrax, a ruthless species from a distant galaxy, had arrived. Their ships, jagged and menacing, cast long shadows over the city, blocking out the sun and casting an eerie gloom. Lieutenant Zoe Mitchell stood on the observation deck of the Quantum Research Facility, her eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. Her heartbeat synced with the rhythmic hum of the facility's power core, a massive reactor that pulsed with blue energy. She turned to her team, a diverse group of scientists and soldiers, their faces pale with a mix of fear and determination. Each member wore the mark of the Quantum Division, a symbol of their commitment to defending Earth with the latest advancements in technology. "Today, we fight for more than just our lives," Zoe declared, her voice steady and resolute. "We fight for Earth's tomorrow." As the Kelrax warships descended, the city erupted into chaos. Explosions rocked the streets, and buildings crumbled under the relentless assault. Zoe and her team mobilized, their exosuits glistening with blue energy. These suits, the pinnacle of human engineering, enhanced their strength, speed, and resilience, giving them a fighting chance against the technologically superior invaders. The exosuits were powered by quantum cores, small reactors embedded in the suits' chests. These cores provided a near-infinite energy source, allowing the suits to operate at peak efficiency for extended periods. Each member of the team was also armed with a quantum rifle, a cutting-edge weapon developed within the very facility they now defended. The rifles emitted concentrated bursts of quantum energy, capable of disintegrating Kelrax armor and piercing their defenses. Zoe led the charge, her movements swift and calculated. The exosuit amplified her strength and agility, allowing her to leap over debris and dodge enemy fire with ease. Her rifle spat blue bolts of energy, each shot finding its mark with deadly precision. Beside her, Sergeant Marcus Davis provided cover fire, his bulky frame a stark contrast to Zoe's lithe form. His deep voice boomed over the comms, coordinating their efforts with military precision. "Focus fire on the walkers," Davis barked. "We can't let them breach the facility." The Kelrax walkers were towering, multi-legged war machines armed with plasma cannons and energy shields. They lumbered through the city, crushing everything in their path. Zoe and her team concentrated their fire, targeting the joints and weak points in the walkers' armor. Despite their advanced technology, the Kelrax had underestimated humanity's tenacity and ingenuity. While Zoe and Davis held the front line, Dr. Amelia Vasquez and her team of scientists worked feverishly inside the facility. They were the architects of the Quantum Gate, a device that could potentially turn the tide of the battle. The gate, still in its experimental phase, was designed to transport matter instantaneously across vast distances. If they could activate it, they could send the Kelrax fleet far away from Earth. The Quantum Gate was a massive ring, suspended in a chamber filled with humming machinery and glowing conduits. The room was a hive of activity, with scientists running diagnostics and adjusting settings. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and the hum of high-energy circuits. "Amelia, we need that gate operational now." Zoe's voice crackled through the comms. Amelia wiped sweat from her brow, her fingers flying over the control panel. "I'm working on it, Zoe. We just need a few more minutes." The facility shuddered as another explosion rocked the city. The Kelraks were closing in, their relentless advance a testament to their superior firepower. But humanity had one advantage: their indomitable spirit. Zoe's team fought with unparalleled ferocity, their quantum rifles blazing in the dim light of the burning city. The air was thick with the acrid smell of smoke and the metallic tang of blood. Amidst the chaos, Zoe spotted a Kelrax commander, a towering figure clad in dark armor, directing the assault. "That's their leader," Zoe muttered. "Take him out, and we might just stand a chance." She relayed her plan to Davis, who nodded grimly. "I'll draw his fire. You take the shot." Davis charged forward, his exosuit absorbing the brunt of the enemy fire. Zoe circled around, her eyes locked on the Kelrax commander. With a deep breath, she steadied her rifle and squeezed the trigger. The blue bolt of energy pierced through the chaos, striking the commander square in the chest. He staggered, his alien eyes widening in shock before he collapsed. The Kelrax forces hesitated, their cohesion momentarily disrupted. It was the opening Zoe needed. "Now, Amelia," Zoe shouted. "Activate the gate." Amelia's fingers danced over the control panel, and the quantum gate hummed to life. A swirling vortex of blue energy appeared in the center of the facility, its light casting eerie shadows on the walls. The vortex pulsed and expanded, creating a bridge between dimensions. "Gate is online," Amelia announced. "But it's unstable. We need to stabilize the power flow." Zoe and her team fought their way back to the facility, their exosuits glowing with residual energy. As they reached the control room, Amelia explained her plan. "We can use the gate to transport the Kelrax warships away from Earth," she said. "But someone needs to manually adjust the power flow from the core." "I'll do it," Zoe said without hesitation. "You guys just keep those aliens off my back." Zoe sprinted towards the core, her heart pounding in her chest. The quantum core was a massive sphere of pulsating energy, housed in a reinforced chamber at the facility's center. The core was the heart of the facility, drawing energy from deep within the Earth's crust and converting it into the quantum energy that powered their technology. As she approached, the ground trembled and the lights flickered. The Kelrax were making one last desperate push. She accessed the core's control panel, her fingers moving with practiced precision. The room around her seemed to fade away as she focused on the task at hand. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a squad of Kelrax soldiers stormed in. "Zoe, we've got company." Davis' voice crackled through the comms. "I need more time," Zoe shouted back, her hands flying over the controls. "Just a few more seconds." Davis and the rest of the team formed a defensive perimeter around the core, their rifles blazing. They fought with everything they had, their determination unwavering. One by one, the Kelrax soldiers fell, but not without inflicting heavy casualties. Zoe felt a surge of energy as the core stabilized. The gate's vortex intensified, and she knew it was now or never. "Amelia, do it," she yelled. Amelia activated the final sequence, and the quantum gate roared to life. The vortex expanded, enveloping the invading warships in its grasp. With a blinding flash of light, the Kelrax fleet vanished, transported to the far reaches of space. The battle was over, but the cost had been high. The city lay in ruins, and many brave souls had perished. Zoe stood amidst the wreckage, her exosuit battered and scorched. She surveyed the devastation with a heavy heart. The once vibrant city of Neo-Tokyo was now a landscape of smoldering ruins and twisted metal. The air was filled with the sounds of sirens and the cries of survivors searching for loved ones. Davis approached, his face grim. "We did it, Zoe. We saved Earth." Zoe nodded, her eyes filled with both relief and sorrow. "But at what cost? So many lives lost." "We'll rebuild," Amelia said, stepping forward. "We always do. And we'll be ready if they come back." Zoe looked at her team, battered but unbroken, and felt a surge of pride. They had faced the darkest of times and emerged victorious. The quantum gate had not only saved their world, but also symbolized the unyielding spirit of humanity. As the first rays of dawn broke through the smoky sky, Zoe knew that Earth's tomorrow was secure. They had fought, sacrificed, and triumphed. And in the face of the vast cosmos, humanity stood tall, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the days that followed, the people of Neo-Tokyo began the arduous task of rebuilding their city. The Quantum Research Facility became a symbol of hope and resilience, its halls echoing with the stories of those who had fought and fallen. The survivors worked tirelessly, clearing debris and restoring essential services. Engineers and architects collaborated to design new structures that would withstand future threats. Medical teams set up field hospitals to care for the wounded, while volunteers distributed food and supplies to those in need. Zoe, Davis, and Amelia were hailed as heroes, their names forever etched into the annals of history. But for them, the battle was not just about glory. It was about the survival of their species. As they stood on the observation deck, looking out over the recovering city, Zoe felt a sense of renewed purpose. The Kelrax had underestimated humanity's will to fight, and they had paid the price. "What's next for us?" Davis asked, his gaze fixed on the horizon. Zoe smiled, a determined glint in her eyes. "We prepare, we learn, and we make sure that when they come back, we'll be ready." Amelia nodded in agreement. The quantum gate was just the beginning. There's so much more we can do. Together, they faced the future with hope and determination. The quantum rebellion had forged a bond between them, a bond that would endure through the trials to come. For Zoe, Davis, Amelia, and the countless others who had fought for Earth's tomorrow, the battle was far from over. But as long as they stood together, humanity would never yield. And so, under the rising sun of a new dawn, they vowed to protect their world and each other, no matter the cost.
I wasn't looking for trouble when I found her. I was just doing my job, a simple salvage operation on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. The derelict ship floated lifelessly in the void, a ghostly remnant of a long-forgotten battle. My name's Mark Harlow, captain of the Scavenger's Hope, and this was supposed to be just another routine haul. Little did I know, this encounter would change my life forever. The moment I set foot on the alien vessel, a chill ran down my spine. The corridors were dark and silent, save for the occasional creak of metal settling in the cold vacuum of space. I activated my helmet's light and pressed forward, my boots clanking against the deck plates. The ship's design was unfamiliar, its architecture alien, yet there was something hauntingly beautiful about it. My partner, Sam, a burly ex-Marine with a heart of gold, stayed close. "Got a bad feeling about this one, Mark," he muttered, his voice crackling through the comms. "Yeah, me too," I admitted, scanning the walls for any signs of life. The place was a maze of twisting hallways and sealed doors, each turn more foreboding than the last. As we ventured deeper, I noticed strange markings on the walls, symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. "What do you think these are?" I asked, tracing a finger over one of the symbols. It pulsed under my touch, sending a shiver through my arm. "Dunno. Looks like some kind of writing. Maybe a warning?" Sam suggested, his eyes darting nervously around. We continued our search, the eerie silence pressing in on us. After what felt like hours, we stumbled upon a large chamber. The air inside was different, warmer, almost inviting. At the center of the room, surrounded by intricate machinery, lay a cryostasis pod. Frost covered its surface, and through the misted glass I could see a figure inside. "Sam, look at this," I whispered, my breath catching in my throat. "There is someone in there." He approached cautiously, his eyes widening. "What the hell? This ship's been here for decades, maybe centuries. How's that possible?" I examined the control panel, the symbols lighting up at my touch. "I don't know, but we need to get her out." With a few quick adjustments, the pod hissed open, releasing a cloud of icy vapor. The figure inside stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She was unlike any alien I had ever seen, with pale blue skin and delicate, almost ethereal features. Her eyes, large and luminous, fixed on me with a mix of fear and curiosity. "Who are you?" she asked in a voice that resonated like a song. "I'm Mark, and this is Sam." "We're here to help," I said gently, extending a hand. She hesitated, then took it, her touch sending a jolt of electricity through me. "My name is Lyra. Was the princess of this vessel. We were attacked. My people. They're all gone." Lyra's story was one of tragedy and loss. Her people, the Illyrians, were a peaceful race, traveling the stars in search of knowledge and enlightenment. But they had been ambushed by a ruthless enemy, their ship left adrift and forgotten. She was the sole survivor, frozen in time, waiting for a savior who never came. As we guided her back to the Scavenger's Hope, the weight of her grief was unmistakable. Sam and I exchanged glances, silently agreeing to help her in any way we could. Back on our ship, Lyra adapted quickly, her intelligence and grace astonishing us both. She learned our language within days, her curiosity about Earth and its people boundless. But there was always a sadness in her eyes, a longing for the home she had lost. One evening, as we drifted through the void, she opened up to me. "Mark, I need to find my people's archives. They contain the essence of our culture, our history. If they're lost, my race will be forgotten forever." "We'll help you find them," I promised, knowing that this mission was now more than just a job. It was a quest for redemption, for both her and us. The search for the Illyrian archives led us to a distant star system, rumored to be the resting place of their ancient knowledge. The journey was perilous, the route fraught with dangers, both natural and otherwise. But Lyra's determination was unwavering, her hope a beacon that guided us through the darkness. Along the way, we encountered other travelers, some friendly, others not. One such encounter nearly cost us our lives. A band of space pirates ambushed us, their sleek ships emerging from the shadows like predators. "Brace for impact," Sam shouted as the first volley of plasma bolts hit our hull. The Scavenger's Hope shuddered under the assault, alarms blaring. "Evasive maneuvers," I ordered, gripping the controls. Lyra stood beside me, her eyes fixed on the viewport, a mixture of fear and resolve on her face. "We can't outrun them," she said, her voice calm despite the chaos. "Then we fight," Sam growled, his hands expertly navigating the weapons console. The battle was fierce, our ship dodging and weaving through a hail of enemy fire. Lyra proved to be an invaluable ally, her knowledge of Illyrian technology allowing us to tap into hidden reserves of power. With her guidance, we managed to outmaneuver the pirates, leaving them scattered and defeated in our wake. As we resumed our course, the tension eased, replaced by a growing camaraderie. Lyra had become more than just a passenger. She was part of our crew, a friend. Our destination was a desolate planet, its surface scarred by ancient wars. According to Lyra, the archives were hidden deep underground, protected by advanced security systems. We landed cautiously, the eerie silence of the planet unsettling. The entrance to the underground facility was hidden among the ruins of an old temple. Lyra guided us with an almost instinctual precision, her connection to her people's legacy undeniable. As we descended into the depths, the air grew colder, the walls covered in the same glowing symbols we had seen on the derelict ship. "We're close," she whispered, her breath visible in the frigid air. The archive chamber was vast, filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with a soft blue light. Lyra approached the central console, her fingers dancing over the controls. The room hummed to life, holographic displays appearing around us. "This is it," she said, her voice filled with awe. "The knowledge of my people preserved for eternity." As Lyra accessed the archives, a sense of peace settled over her. She was no longer the last of her kind. Her people's legacy lived on through these records. We spent days exploring the archives, learning about Illyrian culture, their achievements, and their dreams. But our time was limited. The presence of the archives had not gone unnoticed, and soon we found ourselves under attack once more. This time, it was the same enemy that had destroyed Lyra's ship, determined to erase the last traces of her civilization. "We have to leave," I urged, the ground shaking as explosions echoed through the facility. "They'll destroy everything." Lyra nodded, her eyes hard with determination. "Not if I can help it." With her guidance, we transferred as much data as we could to our ship, the archives slowly disintegrating under the enemy's relentless assault. As we made our escape, the planet behind us erupted in a fiery explosion, the enemy's final attempt to erase the Illyrians from existence. But they had failed. Lyra's people lived on through her, and through the knowledge we had saved. Back on the Scavenger's Hope, Lyra looked out at the stars, a mixture of sadness and hope in her eyes. "Thank you, Mark. You've given me a future I thought was lost." I smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We're not done yet. There's still so much to learn, so much to explore. You're not alone anymore, Lyra. We're in this together." Days turned into weeks as we traveled further into uncharted space, guided by the newfound knowledge from the Illyrian archives. Lyra often spent hours immersed in the data, uncovering ancient star maps, forgotten technologies, and stories of her people's past. Each discovery brought her closer to a sense of purpose, a mission to preserve and rebuild. One quiet evening, as the ship sailed through the serene darkness of space, Lyra approached me with a worn, ancient-looking device in her hands. "Mark, I found something," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. I looked at the device, a small, intricately designed cube that glowed faintly. "What is it?" "It's a memory crystal," she explained. "It contains a recorded message from one of our ancient leaders. I believe it might hold the key to finding a hidden Illyrian sanctuary." We gathered in the common area, Sam and a few other crew members joining us as Lyra activated the crystal. A holographic image sprang to life, projecting a regal figure with an air of wisdom and authority. "To those who find this message," the figure began, "you have discovered the last remnants of our once great civilization. The sanctuary of Lyra is hidden among the stars, a refuge where our culture, knowledge, and people can endure. Follow the path of the ancients, and you will find the sanctuary. Trust in the stars." The message ended, the hologram fading away, leaving us in stunned silence. "Do you think this sanctuary still exists?" Sam asked, breaking the silence. Lyra nodded, determination gleaming in her eyes. "We have to try. If there's even a chance, we owe it to my people to find it." The journey to find the Illyrian sanctuary was fraught with challenges. We navigated through treacherous asteroid fields, evaded hostile patrols, and deciphered cryptic star maps left by the ancients. Lyra's connection to her people's legacy guided us, her knowledge and intuition proving invaluable at every turn. One particularly harrowing encounter involved a rogue AI that had taken control of an abandoned space station. As we approached, the AI activated the station's defenses, launching a barrage of attacks on our ship. "Shields are failing," Sam shouted, frantically working the controls. "Lyra, can you shut it down?" I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. She nodded, her fingers flying over the console. "I need to access the mainframe. Keep us steady." As Sam and I struggled to keep the ship intact, Lyra hacked into the AI system, her eyes focused and determined. After a tense few minutes, the attacks ceased, the station's defenses powering down. "We're clear," she announced, a triumphant smile on her face. "Nice work, Lyra," I said, relief flooding through me. "Let's get what we need and get out of here." After months of searching, we finally found it. The sanctuary of Lyra was hidden within a nebula, its entrance concealed by swirling gases and electromagnetic interference. As we approached, the nebula parted, revealing a magnificent structure that seemed to glow with an inner light. "It's beautiful," Lyra whispered, tears streaming down her face. We docked the ship and ventured inside, the air filled with a sense of reverence and awe. The sanctuary was a marvel of Illyrian engineering, a vast complex filled with preserved artifacts, living quarters, and advanced technology. It was a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of Lyra's people. As we explored, we encountered holographic recordings of Illyrians, their voices echoing through the halls, sharing their wisdom and knowledge. Lyra's expression was a mix of joy and sorrow, her people's legacy preserved but their presence deeply missed. In the central chamber, we found a grand council room, its walls adorned with intricate carvings and symbols. Lyra stood at the center, her eyes closed, absorbing the history and spirit of her ancestors. "This is where it begins," she said softly, turning to face us. "With this sanctuary, we can rebuild. My people will not be forgotten." The discovery of the sanctuary of Lyra marked a new beginning for all of us. Lyra's mission became our mission, her purpose our purpose. Together, we worked to restore the sanctuary, preserving the knowledge and culture of the Illyrians for future generations. As we labored, a sense of unity and purpose grew among the crew. Lyra's presence had transformed us, giving our lives new meaning and direction. The bond we shared was unbreakable, forged through trials and triumphs. One day, as we stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars, Lyra turned to me, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Mark. You've given me hope and a future I never thought possible." I smiled, feeling a warmth in my heart. "We're family now, Lyra. And together, we'll create a legacy that will endure."
The sky burned crimson as alien warships descended upon Earth. Cities were reduced to rubble and humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction. But in the face of annihilation, the indomitable human spirit refused to be extinguished. This is the story of our last stand. Captain Alex Marshall stood at the edge of the command center, overlooking the shattered remains of New York City. The skyline, once a testament to human ingenuity, was now a battlefield. Smoke billowed from the ruins, and the distant sound of gunfire echoed through the air. "Status report," Alex commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. Lieutenant Maria Santos, his second in command, approached with the tablet in hand. "We've lost contact with the Western Front. The invaders are pushing through our defenses faster than we anticipated." Alex's jaw tightened. "Damn it. We need to regroup and counterattack before they reach the civilian shelters." Maria nodded, her expression grim. "What about the evac teams? Are they ready?" "Not yet. We need more time," Alex replied, glancing at the holographic map displaying the current positions of both human and alien forces. "Send word to General O'Neill. Tell him we need reinforcements and we need them now." As Maria relayed the message, Alex turned his attention to the room, filled with soldiers and strategists. Each face bore the weight of the ongoing struggle, yet there was a spark of determination that refused to be extinguished. "Listen up, everyone," Alex called out, drawing the eyes of his weary team. "We've faced impossible odds before, and we've always found a way to survive. Today is no different. We're fighting for our home, our families, and our future. We will not let these aliens take that away from us. Understood?" A chorus of affirmations echoed through the room, the resolve of the human spirit shining brightly in the face of adversity. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Sergeant David King led his squad through the war-torn streets. The ground shook with every explosion, and the air was thick with the acrid scent of burning debris. Alien soldiers clad in exoskeletons advanced relentlessly, their weapons slicing through the night with deadly precision. "Keep moving," David shouted over the din of battle. "We need to hold this position until reinforcements arrive." Private Jenny Brooks, the squad's sharpshooter, took a position behind a crumbling wall and began picking off alien soldiers with deadly accuracy. "We can't keep this up forever, Sarge," she yelled, reloading her rifle. "We're running low on ammo." "We don't need forever," David replied, firing his assault rifle at an approaching enemy, "just long enough." As the squad fought valiantly, a new wave of alien reinforcements emerged from the shadows. The creatures were larger, more heavily armored, and seemingly unstoppable. Desperation clawed at the edges of David's mind, but he pushed it aside. They couldn't afford to lose hope. "Fall back to the secondary position," David ordered. "We'll make our stand there." The squad retreated, covering each other as they moved. Explosions rocked the ground beneath them, and the night was lit by the fiery glow of burning buildings. Despite the overwhelming odds, they fought with everything they had, driven by the primal instinct to survive. In the depths of the underground research facility, Dr. Emily Carter worked tirelessly alongside her team of scientists. They were humanity's last hope, developing a weapon that could turn the tide of the war. The lab was a hive of activity, filled with the hum of machinery and the sharp tang of chemicals. The research facility itself was an engineering marvel, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains to protect it from orbital bombardments. It was a vast network of interconnected tunnels and chambers, equipped with state-of-the-art technology salvaged from humanity's golden age before the invasion. The walls were lined with monitors displaying real-time data from various battlefronts, and the air was filled with the constant buzz of communications. "We're running out of time, Emily," Dr. James Wright said, his voice strained with exhaustion. "The aliens are closing in on our location. If we don't finish this now, it could be all over." Emily's hands trembled as she adjusted the final components of the device. "I know, James, but we have to make sure it's perfect. One mistake and this whole facility could go up in flames." The device, a prototype engineering weapon, was their last-ditch effort to repel the invaders. It harnessed a power source discovered deep beneath the Earth's surface, capable of unleashing a devastating blast. If it worked, it could level the playing field. If it failed, it would mean the end of humanity. "Dawn," Emily said, stepping back to admire her creation. "Let's hope this is enough." Back on the surface, Alex received the news of the completed weapon with a mixture of relief and anxiety. The command center was a flurry of activity as preparations were made to deploy the device. "Get that thing to the front lines," Alex ordered. "We need to give our troops a fighting chance." As the device was transported to the battlefield, Alex took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. Humanity had faced countless challenges throughout its history, but nothing like this. Yet, in the face of overwhelming odds, they had come together, united by a common cause. The command center itself was a testament to human adaptability. Originally a high-rise office building, it had been hastily converted into a fortress. The upper floors served as observation posts, equipped with long-range sensors and anti-aircraft weaponry. The lower levels housed barracks, medical facilities, and armories. Every inch of the building had been repurposed to serve the war effort. "Captain," Maria said, breaking him from his reverie, "the device is ready. Sergeant King's squad is in position to deploy it." Alex nodded, his resolve hardening. "Let's finish this." On the front lines, David and his squad had taken up their positions, the device now securely placed in the center of their makeshift stronghold. The alien forces continued their relentless advance, their metallic forms glinting ominously in the firelight. The battlefield stretched across what was once Central Park, now a wasteland of craters and debris. The iconic landmarks were barely recognizable, transformed into defensive structures and barricades. The humans had dug in, using every resource at their disposal to create a last line of defense. "Hold the line," David shouted, firing his weapon at the oncoming horde. "We can't let them get to the device." As the battle raged on, Emily's voice crackled through David's comm. "Sergeant King, the device is ready. You need to activate it now." "Understood," David replied, his heart pounding at his chest. "Cover me." With a deep breath, David sprinted toward the device, dodging enemy fire as he moved. He reached the control panel and began the activation sequence, his hands moving with practiced precision. Come on," he muttered, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Finally, the device hummed to life, glowing with an eerie blue light. A high-pitched whine filled the air as the energy within it began to build. "Get clear," David shouted, diving for cover. The device unleashed a blinding burst of energy, a wave of destruction that tore through the alien ranks. The ground shook with the force of the blast, and the night was momentarily turned to day. When the light faded, the battlefield was eerily quiet. David slowly stood, surveying the aftermath. The alien forces lay in disarray, their advance halted. For the first time since the invasion began, it felt like they had a chance. In the days that followed, the tide of the war began to turn. The success of the energy weapon inspired a new wave of hope and determination. Human forces rallied, pushing back the invaders with renewed vigor. Captain Alex Marshall stood once again at the edge of the command center, this time with a sense of cautious optimism. The battle was far from over, but they had shown that humanity would not go quietly into the night. "We did it," Maria said, joining him. "We actually did it." Alex nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "This is just the beginning. There's still a lot of work to do, but we've proven that we can fight back, and we will." As the sun rose over the scarred landscape, casting its golden light on the ruins below, the human spirit shone brighter than ever. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger for it. The command center buzzed with renewed energy. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock to develop new weapons and technologies. Medics and volunteers tended to the wounded, ensuring that every soldier who could fight would return to the front lines. Supply lines were reestablished and communication networks restored, allowing for better coordination of the resistance efforts. And so, with unwavering resolve and unbreakable unity, humanity prepared for the next chapter in their struggle for survival. The invaders had underestimated them, and they would pay dearly for it.
Captain Zorvax of the illustrious Xanthal fleet adjusted his crimson cape with a flourish. The crew of the Stellar Diplomat buzzed around him in preparation for their latest mission, a diplomatic visit to the newly discovered planet Earth. The humans had shown promise in the galactic community, and it was time to extend a hand or tentacle of friendship. "Lieutenant Yalnix, status report," Zorvax commanded, his voice echoing through the control room. "All systems green, Captain. We are prepared to make contact with the human representatives," Yalnix replied, his scales shimmering under the ship's fluorescent lights. As the ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, the crew marveled at the planet's vibrant colors and diverse ecosystems. From the window, Zorvax observed vast oceans glistening under the sun, sprawling forests teeming with life, and bustling cities that glowed like beacons of civilization. The Stellar Diplomat touched down in a designated area within a large spaceport, greeted by a delegation of humans wearing bright smiles and formal attire. A massive banner overhead read "Welcome Xanthal Delegation" in bold, friendly letters. The human ambassador, a cheerful woman named Dr. Emma Collins, stepped forward. "Welcome, Captain Zorvax and esteemed crew, to Earth. We are honored to have you here." Zorvax, ever the picture of diplomacy, extended his clawed hand. "Thank you, Dr. Collins. We are equally honored to visit your remarkable world." After the formalities, the humans and Xanthals exchanged gifts. The humans presented an array of artifacts, from ancient relics to advanced technologies. One particularly interesting artifact was an ancient human device called a vinyl record player, accompanied by a selection of records. Zorvac's eyes gleamed with curiosity as he listened to the warm, nostalgic sound of music emanating from the device. In return, the Xanthals offered rare minerals and intricate sculptures from their home planet, Xanthor. The sculptures depicted scenes of Xanthal history, showcasing their rich cultural heritage. Dr. Collins marveled at the exquisite craftsmanship and the luminescent quality of the minerals. "Now," Dr. Collins said with a twinkle in her eye, "we have a special treat prepared for you. Our culinary team has crafted a selection of Earth's finest foods for you to try." The crew of the Stellar Diplomat was led to a grand hall where tables were laden with an impressive array of dishes. The scents wafting through the air were unlike anything the Xanthals had encountered before. Captain Zorvax eyed the spread with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The hall itself was a marvel, with high ceilings adorned with intricate frescoes depicting Earth's history and achievements. Large windows provided a panoramic view of the bustling spaceport and the distant city skyline. The humans had gone to great lengths to make their guests feel welcome. Lieutenant Yalnix leaned in and whispered, "Captain, are you sure this is wise? Our digestive systems are quite different." "Nonsense, Lieutenant. It is a gesture of goodwill. We must partake," Sorvax replied, though he couldn't help but notice a peculiar dish that seemed to be pulsating slightly. Dr. Collins gestured to the table. "Please, help yourselves. We've prepared a variety of options, both familiar and exotic." The Xanthals cautiously approached the table. Sorvax picked up a small, round object called a meatball. It was surprisingly heavy for its size. He took a bite, and his eyes widened in surprise. The flavor was rich and savory, unlike anything he'd tasted before. "This is quite delicious," he admitted, much to the crew's relief. Lieutenant Yalnix, emboldened by the captain's approval, sampled a dish labeled spaghetti. The long, thin strands were difficult to manage. But once he succeeded, the taste was unexpectedly delightful. As the feast continued, the Xanthals grew more adventurous. A young ensign named Glorvik decided to try a particularly colorful dish known as jalapeno poppers. "These look intriguing," Glorvik said, popping one into his mouth. Moments later, his eyes bulged, and he let out a strangled gasp. Smoke seemed to emanate from his nostrils, and his scales turned an alarming shade of red. "Fire! There's fire in my mouth," he bellowed, rushing to find water. Dr. Collins and the human delegation stifled their laughter as they quickly brought over a glass of milk. "Here, drink this. It will help," she offered. Captain Zorvax raised an eyebrow. "Is this some form of human trial by fire?" Dr. Collins shook her head, smiling. No. It's just a spicy pepper. We should have warned you." Despite the incident, the Xanthals continued to sample the offerings, growing more appreciative of the variety and complexity of human cuisine. They discovered the sweetness of desserts like chocolate cake and the refreshing taste of fresh fruits. By the end of the meal, the Xanthals were pleasantly full and considerably more relaxed. Captain Zorvax stood and addressed the room. "Dr. Collins, esteemed humans, we are grateful for this experience. It has been both enlightening and spicy." Laughter filled the hall, and Dr. Collins raised her glass in a toast to new friends and shared adventures. As the evening drew to a close, the Xanthals and humans exchanged stories and laughter, finding common ground in their differences. The bonds formed over the shared meal were stronger than any formal treaty. During their conversations, the Xanthals learned about Earth's diverse cultures, traditions, and history. They were fascinated by the human concept of festivals, where entire communities would come together to celebrate with music, dance, and food. Dr. Collins explained the significance of holidays like Thanksgiving and Diwali, which emphasized themes of gratitude and light. The Xanthals, in turn, shared stories of their own festivals, such as the Luminal Convergence, a spectacular event where the skies of Xanthor were illuminated by natural bioluminescent phenomena. They spoke of their art, music, and the deep spiritual connection they felt with their planet. Dr. Collins also introduced the Xanthals to the concept of human literature. She gifted them a selection of books, ranging from classic novels to contemporary fiction. Captain Zorvax was particularly intrigued by a book titled Moby Dick, which Dr. Collins described as an epic tale of adventure and obsession on the high seas. The next day, as the stellar diplomat prepared to depart, Captain Zorvax and Dr. Collins stood on the tarmac, watching the sunrise. The sky was painted with hues of pink and orange, a sight that filled Zorvax with a sense of wonder. "Thank you for your hospitality, Dr. Collins. We have learned much from this visit," Zorvax said. "And we from you, Captain. We look forward to many more exchanges in the future," Dr. Collins replied. As the Xanthal ship ascended into the sky, the crew reflected on their adventure. Lieutenant Yelnix turned to Zorvax. "Captain, if I may ask, what was your favorite dish?" Zorvax pondered for a moment, then grinned. "The meatballs, without a doubt. Though I think I will pass on the jalapenos in the future." The crew chuckled, and Zorvax couldn't help but feel a newfound appreciation for the unpredictable and wondrous nature of human culture. As they journeyed back to their home planet, the stories of their misadventure with human food would become legendary, a testament to the power of shared experiences in bridging the vast distances between stars and species. Back on Xanthor, the crew shared their tales with their fellow Xanthals. They spoke of the vibrant cities of Earth, the warmth of human hospitality, and the unexpected adventure of sampling human food. The story spread quickly, sparking a newfound curiosity about Earth and its inhabitants. Soon, more Xanthal ships were dispatched to Earth, each crew eager to experience the wonders of the blue planet for themselves. Cultural exchanges flourished, leading to a deeper understanding and stronger ties between the two species. Captain Zorvax and Dr. Collins remained in close contact, their friendship symbolizing the successful alliance between Xanthor and Earth. They continued to share stories, recipes, and even occasional diplomatic challenges, always finding ways to learn from each other and grow together. As the years passed, the bond between the Xanthals and humans only grew stronger. They collaborated on scientific projects, explored each other's art and literature, and even celebrated their unique festivals together. The legacy of that first misadventure with human food became a cherished story, a reminder of how curiosity, humor, and a willingness to embrace the unknown could lead to the most extraordinary of friendships. And so, the tale of Captain Zorvax, the stellar diplomat, and the infamous jalapeno popper became a legend, told and retold across the galaxy, inspiring future generations of Xanthals and humans to seek out new experiences, form lasting bonds, and always be prepared for a bit of spice. You know, the universe is a pretty big place. So big, in fact, that it's easy to lose your way even if you're armed with the latest in subspace navigational charts, a trusty ship, and a cosmic-sized cup of tea. My name is Zogthar, and I hail from a planet known for its fine wines and an unerring talent for misplacing keys. But this isn't a story about lost keys. No, this is a tale about a rather peculiar cafe at the edge of the universe. It all started on a Tuesday, which is universally acknowledged as the most boring day of the week, no matter which galaxy you're in. I was cruising through the Perseus Arm in my slightly battered but beloved ship, the Tea Time Traveler. The ship's AI Earl, named after my favorite tea, of course, chirped in a distinctly annoyed tone. "Zogthar, we're running low on Zorblaxian tea leaves again. You really need to remember to stock up when we're near a proper marketplace?" I sighed. "Earl, old friend, you know I'd rather navigate through an asteroid field than deal with those market crowds. Besides, I thought we had enough to last us through the Andromeda Nebula. You drank it all during that marathon of Galactic Bounty Hunter, the musical," Earl reminded me. "Right. Forgot about that." I scratched my head. "Guess we'll have to make a stop then. Set course for the nearest outpost with decent tea." The nearest outpost, as it turned out, was a tiny, scarcely charted speck of a place called Glorptopia. I'd never heard of it, which was unusual given my extensive travels and even more extensive collection of travel brochures. As we approached Glorptopia, something peculiar happened. The ship's sensors went haywire, and the usual hum of space-time around us distorted into a strange melody. Earl, always the logical one, seemed perplexed. "This is highly irregular. It appears we're encountering some sort of temporal anomaly." "Oh, delightful," I muttered, gripping the control stick. "Just what we needed. Hold on, Earl, we're going in." We emerged from the anomaly into a bustling hub of activity. Glorptopia, it turned out, wasn't just an outpost. It was a veritable spacefaring bazaar, with ships from every corner of the galaxy docked at its orbiting station. And right at the center of this chaotic ballet was a quaint little sign that read, Cosmic Cafe, the best cup in the universe. Well, that's convenient, I said, guiding the tea-time traveler to an open docking bay. Let's hope their tea lives up to the hype. As I disembarked, the scent of various alien delicacies wafted through the air, blending into a heady aroma that tickled my senses. The cafe itself was a charming establishment, with a mishmash of seating arrangements to accommodate patrons of all shapes and sizes. The clientele was just as varied. Tentacled beings sipping fluorescent beverages, robotic patrons plugging into charging stations, while enjoying synthetic snacks, and even a few humans nursing steaming mugs of something dark and mysterious. I made my way to the counter, where a being with 4 arms and a perpetually cheerful expression greeted me. Welcome to the Cosmic Cafe. What can I get for you today? I'll have a cup of your finest Sorblaxian tea, please, I said, trying to mask my desperation. Coming right up. The barista moved with an efficiency that belied their cheerful demeanor, brewing a cup with the precision of a surgeon and the speed of a sprinter. In moments, a steaming mug was placed before me. I took a tentative sip and nearly wept with joy. This is amazing, the barista beamed. Only the best at the Cosmic Cafe. Is there anything else I can get for you? I was about to decline when a low, gravelly voice interrupted. I couldn't help but overhear. You're quite the tea aficionado, aren't you? I turned to see a towering figure clad in a patchwork of armor pieces, a scar running down one side of their face. Despite the intimidating appearance, their eyes held a mischievous twinkle. Name's Grax, they said, extending a hand the size of a small asteroid. I have a proposition for you. Now, in my experience, propositions from strangers in intergalactic cafes rarely led to anything good. But curiosity got the better of me. Sovthar, I reply, shaking Grax's hand. What sort of proposition? Grax leaned in, lowering their voice. I've got a bit of a situation. You see, I'm in possession of a rather unique item. A map, if you will. And not just any map. This one leads to the fabled lost city of Eldrian. I nearly choked on my tea. Eldrian was the stuff of legends, a mythical city said to house treasures beyond imagination. And why, pray tell, are you sharing this with me? Grax chuckled. Because I need a partner. Someone who knows their way around the galaxy and, more importantly, someone who can appreciate the finer things in life. Like tea. Well, how could I resist? All right, Grax. You've got yourself a deal. Grax clapped me on the shoulder with enough force to dislocate a lesser being's arm. Excellent. Finish your tea, and we'll be on our way. As we prepared to leave, the barista winked at me. Good luck. And remember, the Cosmic Cafe is always here when you need a break. Back on the Tea Time Traveler, Earl was less enthusiastic about our new venture. Are you certain about this, Sogthar? Chasing legends rarely ends well. Come now, Earl, I said, punching in the coordinates Grax provided. Where's your sense of adventure? I left it in the Sorblaxian tea fields, Earl grumbled, but he plotted the course anyway. The journey to Eldrian was anything but smooth. We encountered space pirates, navigated through treacherous asteroid fields, and even had a run-in with a particularly irritable space whale. Through it all, Grax proved to be a capable and surprisingly witty companion, regaling me with tales of their own adventures. After what felt like an eternity, we finally arrived at the coordinates. Eldrian, it turned out, was hidden within a swirling nebula, its entrance marked by an ancient, almost mystical gate. As we approached, the gate slowly opened, revealing the shimmering city beyond. Eldrian was breathtaking, a sprawling metropolis of crystalline towers and verdant gardens, untouched by the ravages of time. Grax and I disembarked, marveling at the sheer beauty of the place. "Welcome to Eldrian," Grax said with a grin. "Shall we explore?" We wandered through the city, discovering treasures and artifacts beyond our wildest dreams. But the real prize, as it turned out, wasn't gold or jewels. In the heart of Eldrian, we found a library, an extensive collection of knowledge from civilizations long gone. Among the volumes was a book on the finest teas of the universe, a tome that made my heart race with excitement. As I pored over the book, Grax chuckled. "Looks like you found your treasure, Zogthar." "Indeed," I said, unable to tear my eyes away from the pages. "This is beyond anything I could have imagined." We spent days in Eldrian, exploring its secrets and savoring its tranquility. But eventually, it was time to leave. As we prepared to depart, Grax turned to me. "This has been quite the adventure, my friend. But I think it's time we part ways." I nodded, understanding. "Thank you, Grax. For everything." Grax grinned. "Until our paths cross again, Zogthar. May your tea always be hot and your adventures plentiful." With that, Grax departed, leaving me with a treasure trove of knowledge and a newfound appreciation for the universe's endless wonders. As I guided the tea-time traveler away from Eldrian, I couldn't help but smile. "Earl," I said, setting a course for our next destination, "I think we're in for many more adventures." Earl sighed, but there was a hint of amusement in his voice. "As long as we have enough tea, I suppose we'll manage." And so, with a heart full of excitement and a ship stocked with the finest teas, I continued my journey through the cosmos, ready for whatever the universe had in store. The end of one adventure only meant the beginning of another, and I was more than ready to face it, with a cup of Zorblaxian tea in hand, of course.